Just minutes before Princess Anne's major Windsor gathering began, something inside the palace reportedly changed without warning. Several names connected to Queen Camilla's private social circle allegedly vanished from the approved guest registry. Not delayed, not misplaced, removed. No announcement followed. No explanation came from Buckingham Palace. And according to whispers from royal insiders, Prince William himself had personally reviewed the final list only hours before the doors opened. That detail changed everything. Because within royal circles, guest lists are never just guest lists. They are symbols of power, access, loyalty, and influence. Who stands inside the room matters almost as much as who sits on the throne itself. And on this particular occasion, people close to the palace claim the removals were not accidental confusion or security mistakes. They were deliberate. Today we are diving into one of the coldest royal controversies whispered about behind palace walls in recent months. According to journalists, palace observers, and insiders familiar with Windsor operations, Princess Anne's event became the center of a silent struggle over the future of the monarchy itself, and many believe Prince William used that moment to send a message, not publicly, quietly. What many people don't know is that the atmosphere reportedly shifted long before the first guest arrived. Palace staff, who normally handled royal ceremonies with calm precision, allegedly found themselves working under unusual pressure. Security instructions changed suddenly. Seating arrangements were revised. Access permissions were updated at the last minute. Several insiders later claimed even longtime staff members seemed unsettled by the speed of the changes. One palace observer reportedly described the mood as controlled but explosive. That phrase spread quickly through private conversations. Inside Windsor. Because no one expected open confrontation. The monarchy survives on silence, restraint, and careful appearances. Yet according to royal whispers, tension between Prince William and Queen Camilla's wider circle had already been building quietly for weeks, and Anne's gathering may have become the breaking point. Accounts from insiders reveal that Camilla's allies allegedly expected unusually prominent placement during the event. Some believed her network had steadily expanded influence inside royal operations during King Charles's reign. Over time, familiar faces connected to her private social world reportedly gained stronger visibility around ceremonies, gatherings, and palace functions. But different sources suggest William had become increasingly uncomfortable with what some courtiers described as blurred institutional boundaries. That phrase appears again and again in palace whispers. Blurred boundaries. According to several interpretations circulating among royal staff, the future king reportedly feared that private influence and royal authority were becoming too closely intertwined. And with King Charles facing ongoing health struggles, insiders claim William's approach to palace operations has become far more disciplined and controlled. Then came Windsor. Reports suggest Prince William personally intervened during final preparations for Princess Anne's event. That alone shocked many observers because Anne is already viewed as one of the monarchy's strongest defenders of tradition and institutional order. She rarely requires assistance managing ceremonial matters. Yet sources claim William became unusually involved. Private consultations reportedly took place between Anne and William for weeks before the gathering. Discussions allegedly focused not only on protocol, but on symbolism, legacy, and the future direction of the crown during a period of growing uncertainty. And that uncertainty matters, because behind the polished royal photographs, many insiders now believe the monarchy is quietly entering a transition era. King Charles remains monarch, but palace whispers increasingly describe Prince William as someone already preparing to exercise far greater operational authority behind the scenes. The Windsor incident reportedly reflected that transformation with chilling precision. Not loud, not emotional, calculated. According to sources familiar with the situation, several guests connected to Camilla's wider network allegedly discovered Their credentials no longer worked shortly before the event officially began. Some were quietly redirected away from restricted palace corridors. Others reportedly faced unexplained delays while staff reviewed access permissions that had supposedly already been approved. There were no screaming matches, no dramatic public scenes, just silence. And somehow, insiders say, that silence felt even harsher. Because within royal culture, silence often carries the weight of approval from higher authority. If nobody reverses a decision, many assume powerful figures support it privately. That realization reportedly stunned parts of Camilla's social circle. Some insiders claim confusion quickly turned into humiliation once affected guests began privately contacting palace offices for answers. But according to accounts from journalists and royal observers, no meaningful clarification ever arrived. The palace simply stayed quiet. But there's more to this story, because Anne's gathering was never viewed internally as an ordinary royal engagement. To the public, it appeared ceremonial, elegant halls, formal smiles, carefully staged photographs. Yet insiders now suggest the event carried enormous symbolic importance tied directly to Queen Elizabeth II's legacy. Organizations connected to Anne's gathering were reportedly viewed within palace circles as extensions of the late Queen's institutional philosophy: duty before personality, structure before popularity, stability before emotion. And according to palace whispers, William understood that significance deeply. Some insiders now believe the future king saw the Windsor event as a moment to reinforce a very specific message about the monarchy's future, one centered less on personal relationships and more on institutional discipline. That is where Princess Anne becomes crucial. For decades, Anne has earned a reputation as one of the monarchy's toughest figures. She has never relied on glamour or media fascination to maintain authority. Instead, insiders say her influence comes from consistency, discipline, and absolute loyalty to royal structure. Those values reportedly shaped William more than many people realize. Accounts from palace insiders suggest the bond between Anne and William strengthened dramatically following Queen Elizabeth II's death. Private consultations allegedly became more frequent. Strategic discussions reportedly expanded. And during a time filled with uncertainty surrounding King Charles's reign, many insiders claim Anne quietly emerged as one of William's most trusted allies. That alliance may explain why Windsor became so important, because according to several commentators, the event exposed something larger than a guest list controversy. It revealed how power inside the monarchy may already be shifting toward a new generation of control. And the most unsettling part? Almost nobody officially denied any of it. To understand why the Windsor controversy reportedly became so explosive, behind palace walls, many believe you have to look at the changing balance of power inside the monarchy itself. For years, Queen Camilla's role steadily evolved during King Charles's rise to the throne. What once appeared controversial gradually became normalized through careful public appearances, strategic visibility, and institutional acceptance. During Charles's reign, Camilla reportedly gained stronger standing not only publicly but socially within royal circles. According to palace observers, her wider network of allies also expanded quietly over time. Private gatherings, trusted advisors, long-standing social connections. At first, many insiders viewed that growth as completely natural. After all, a reigning monarch's spouse inevitably carries influence around the palace. But according to several royal commentators, concerns allegedly began emerging when some within the institution felt ceremonial authority and personal networks were becoming increasingly difficult to separate. That is where William and Anne reportedly saw danger. What many people don't know is that Princess Anne has long represented an older royal philosophy shaped directly by Queen Elizabeth II herself. Duty first, institution first, emotion second. For decades, Anne developed a reputation inside royal circles for discipline without compromise. She rarely chased headlines, rarely engaged in palace drama publicly. And according to insiders, that restraint earned enormous respect behind closed doors. William reportedly admired that approach deeply. As pressures surrounding the monarchy intensified following Queen Elizabeth II's death, insiders claim William increasingly gravitated toward Anne's style of leadership. More cautious, more controlled, less emotional, focused heavily on protecting long-term institutional stability. Accounts from journalists and palace observers reveal that Anne and William allegedly began aligning more frequently on strategic matters during recent years. Coordinated appearances increased. Private discussions reportedly became more common, and some insiders quietly started describing Anne as one of William's most influential advisors. That shift became especially important once King Charles's health struggles reportedly intensified concern behind palace walls. Because uncertainty changes royal dynamics quickly. According to several palace whispers, Charles has faced enormous pressure balancing loyalty to Camilla while managing William's growing authority as future king. Some insiders even claim the king has become emotionally exhausted by the competing expectations surrounding his reign. And during fragile moments inside royal institutions, power rarely stays still. It shifts, slowly at first, then suddenly. Sources familiar with royal operations claim William became increasingly focused on maintaining what he reportedly viewed as institutional clarity. Every appearance, every symbolic detail, every public message began carrying greater significance. That included guest lists, especially guest lists connected to legacy events tied closely to Queen Elizabeth II's philosophy of monarchy. Reports suggest Anne's Windsor gatherings centered around organizations deeply associated with the late Queen's vision of royal continuity. To outsiders, those connections may have looked ceremonial, but internally, insiders say the symbolism carried enormous weight because Queen Elizabeth's legacy remains sacred inside many palace circles, and according to several interpretations, William viewed the event as an opportunity to reinforce traditional royal structure during a period filled with instability. Then warning signs reportedly began appearing. Accounts from insiders reveal communications between different royal households allegedly became colder in the weeks leading up to Windsor. Meetings reportedly grew more guarded. Even longtime staff members noticed subtle shifts in tone whenever discussions involved ceremonial planning or public positioning. Some palace observers claim tensions intensified once figures connected to Camilla's wider network allegedly expected elevated visibility during Anne's event. Preferred seating, greater proximity, enhanced access. To some insiders, those expectations crossed invisible lines William reportedly considered dangerous. That phrase appeared again inside palace conversations. Invisible lines. According to royal commentators, William allegedly feared the monarchy risked becoming too influenced by social positioning instead of institutional hierarchy.